Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. You're watching Newsroom. I'm your host, Omar Khalid. But today is the 14th of June 2023, and these are the stories that are making the headlines today in Pakistan. We'll begin with our first story that concerns cyclone Biparjoy. Our Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif Saab says that he has directed to utilize all the resources to protect the people in the wake of this cyclone. He made these directions while chairing a meeting in Islamabad today to review the evolving situation arising out of the storm. Also, Shahid Rahman Sahaba, Minister for Climate Change, has said that public safety is the government's first priority. She has said people in at-risk areas will be forced to evacuate because there is no other options. She also talked about the relief camps that have been set, and also that all the state organizations are making concerted efforts to help the people who could be affected because of the cyclone. Also, Chief Minister Murad Ali Shah has informed the Sindh Assembly that the provincial government has completed all the possible safety measures in view of the cyclone. Our second story, ladies and gentlemen, today is going to be all the way from the United States of America, where former US President Donald Trump has been arrested at the federal courthouse in Florida and then pleaded not guilty to federal criminal charges, 37 charges, that he unlawfully kept national security documents when he left office and lied to officials who sought to recover them. This was reported in various media outlets in the United States. Also, before in April, he had also been indicted in another case, but he also got away with it. What will happen this time? Will he finally be apprehended? Will he finally get arrested, or some kind of lawsuit would be put on him as a result of these 37 counts? Only time will tell, but we will be discussing different aspects of this. And finally, we'll be talking of Nigeria, where at least 103 people have been killed after a boat capsized in the country's central state of Kwara. The Kwara state governor says that the victims of the incident were returning from a wedding in the neighboring Niger state when this incident occurred. Let's begin with our first segment, ladies and gentlemen, that concerns the cyclone Biparjoy. We are all extremely concerned as the time is slowly and steadily getting closer, and the cyclone is also getting closer to the coastal areas of Karachi. Although Shahid Rahman Sahaba says that it might not hit Karachi, but the coastal areas will be affected. More in the following report.
An extraordinary situation has arisen in Pakistan's province Sindh owing to the threat of tropical cyclone storm which is moving near the southeastern coast of the country. The cyclone Biparjoy has now been downgraded from extremely severe cyclonic storm to very severe cyclonic storm, and it moved further north-northwestward during the last 12 hours. As per Pakistan Met Department, high-intensity gusty winds, rain and subsequent coastal inundation were likely in the areas under effect of the cyclonic system. Coastal communities in Sindh province are forecast to receive 30 centimeters of rain and suffer storm surges up to 3.5 meters high, which could inundate low-lying settlements. Instructions have been issued to all garrisons of Pakistan Army regarding public assistance and rescue missions on an emergency basis. Climate Minister Shahid Rahman raised alarm that Karachi will likely face urban flooding given the scale and intensity of winds. Meanwhile, Sindh Information Minister Sharjeel Inam Mayman said 26,855 people had been evacuated across the province, out of which 19,205 evacuations were conducted by the government, while the remaining had voluntarily moved to safer locations. As Pakistan's coastal region braces for cyclone Biparjoy, the adverse impact of climate change is more evident now.
To discuss more about cyclone Biparjoy, because this is the main and important story that we are concerned with. We've been joined in the studios by Agha Iqrar Hussain. He is an analyst. Thank you very much, Agha Saab, to have joined us. Let's begin with you, Agha Saab. Thank you very much to have come all the way to the studios. Cyclone Biparjoy is something that not only the people in Sindh, Balochistan are concerned about, but also us sitting here in this studio. As per the latest forecast, the Arabian Sea cyclone has been categorized as a very severe cyclonic storm. Can it move from category 3 to category 4? Should we be more concerned?
Just before coming over here, I was checking the, you can say, interactive map of this entire cyclone. Yes, temperature is very high to the land, entire land. I mean, not only Sindh, Punjab also. There are risks, but I think as it's moving toward Dwarka and intensity, today in last 4 hours, intensity is little came down. So I am hopeful it would not be so disastrous as we had been thinking before. Though its impact would be as far as Ormara. So if the impact would be at Ormara, so we can understand, I mean, Karachi is between the KT Bandar and the Ormara.
True.
So this is a thing. And secondly, what we have, I mean, this is a, you know, there's a wrath of nature, and then we created or we constructed some wraths also. The heavy construction in a Malir area. Now today you are watching. I mean, cyclone is not there even. 4 to 5 feet high waves are hitting a golf club. So basically we are eating nature. We are going inside shores, inside rivers, and then we said,
but you know, talking of cyclones, you were talking about Agha Sahab, you were talking to me about a cyclone that had hit the same area in the 1600s. We were going
exactly,
and you said that it had completely changed the course at that time.
Yes, it happened in 1600, and this cyclone basically it got silt, and the one passage of a river Indus was clogged, and that is why the Thatta area, which was the biggest port of the of that region after Oman port, it died down. So I am also concerned because Karachi is 15 feet low to the sea area. Thatta is only 7 feet high, and if it is coming with a full-fledged, taking the silt inside, there are still some water passages, it will block down.
All right. So I hope it doesn't come to that. I really hope. The Pakistan Met Department, Agha Sahab, says that the storm's distance from Karachi has now increased. It is now 370 kilometers away from the port city, but Karachi is susceptible to urban flooding. This is also what Shari Rahman Sahiba has said. When you say urban flooding, what should Karachi and Karachiites expect?
If there is a rain of 60 millimeter or 100 millimeter, so that is always a problem of Karachi, because Karachi, as I just mentioned, is 12 to 15 feet down to the sea level, and we were watching yesterday. There are all water passages, and this sewer system is clogged. So that will be a great problem. And if you talk about the Malir Kent, there is heavy construction going. There are heavy construction over there, and if the water comes over there, and nobody would know where is the ditch and where is the water. So this is a big problem, and Shari Rahman also many times she has been indicating this thing since yesterday, and also the NEMA, because this construction should have been completed at least months ago, but it is delayed. And now if 60 millimeter rain is enough to submerge or to inundated area, and you would never know where is the road and where is the ditch.
I really hope. One should expect the worst, but hope for the best. When it comes to the coastal areas, Agha Sahab, also the most vulnerable areas are the coastal areas, whether it be Badeen, Thatta, Sajawal. This is what Shari Rahman Sahib this morning said in the National Assembly, that they are going to face the brunt of it all. Now, how difficult, in your point of view, is it for the communities that live in these areas to brace for this calamity? There were many who did not want to leave, and they were forced to evacuate. And this is what Shari Rahman Sahib also said. There is no other probability, and no other option that you have other than forced evacuation. How important is for those people who are living in the coastal areas to understand the whole process of evacuation and evacuate before it could be too late for them?
Well, it is very difficult to leave your home. And I had been, taking interviews of internally displaced people in Wana area. It is very difficult.
True.
You made a home with your hands, and you don't know whether when you will come over back, would that be there or no. So this is difficult to leave it, but they have to leave. Otherwise, there would be dead bodies, as mentioned by the Shari Rahman. So this is they have to choose, and I must appreciate NDMA, PDMA, Sindh government and the federal government, because this is very much collective initiative taken by all stakeholders. This is first time, I am sorry to mention, this is the first time of a long time. So all stakeholders are on a one so-called one page, and I mean they are collaborating with each other, and that is why more than 42,000 people they have already been evacuated.
Well, the figures that I had was as per this information minister Shajil Imam, 64,100 people, 107 people have been evacuated from the vulnerable areas so far.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, that number is going to increase, and this is what they want. They intend to do, to evacuate as many people or if possible, all the people that are in the vulnerable areas. Speaking of the vulnerable areas, what are the possible impacts of cyclone Biparjoy on Pakistan's coastal areas? I understand that fishermen have been advised not to venture into the open sea. Also, shipping has been suspended while the Prime Minister's committee and also people have been told not to resist the mandatory evacuation. Then private and small aircrafts cannot fly, and government has decided on commercial flights in the evening. You know, it is going to decide on what will happen with the commercial flights. A lot of restrictions are taking place, but what impact is it going to have on the people who live currently in the coastal areas?
Displacement, economic meltdown for some time, because we would see where, what will I mean left over there when the water recede. This is another issue. So cyclone have two factors, two economic factors. The heating, you have to leave the area, you close down your business, and then when it recedes, then you see what is left over there. So impact is heavy, and as mentioned Shahid Iman Saiba, this is all because of the global warming and all with climate change, and we are not responsible for that, and the world should come forward and should take the responsibility of that.
How do you see the preparedness of our state and our state institutions as far as this cyclone is concerned? I'll just highlight one or two things. Climate Minister has apprised that the tracking institutions of Pakistan, including the PMD and the SUPARCO, are working around the clock with international satellites, especially with Bangkok-based satellite system. How do you see government's preparedness and the initiatives that it has taken vis-a-vis the previous times that cyclones have hit Pakistan?
This is sometime, I mean, are unprecedented. So much collaborative, so much state-of-the-art information government is providing us. Imaginaries coming to us, I mean, to look and to make the stories. Government is working very hard, and credit goes to all stakeholders, not one. Remember, in last, I mean, you can say, very heavy floods hit Pakistan. Government was not expecting that, and it was not ready to go with it. But this time they are doing everything well before time, and that is why the impact or you can say disaster would be
I really hope so. First of all, I hope because that
human beings they have already humans they have evacuated, and they have evacuated with their little, I mean, you can say trivial things of their homes. So I mean, whatever they could do, they are doing it, and we must appreciate that.
All right, Agha Sahib, I'd like to refer to two statements that Shahid Iman Sahib made today in the National Assembly. She said that people should not panic, not to panic. At the same time, she has said the sea waves might rise tonight. Already you've talked to me about the sea waves that have risen to a certain extent, but they are, it is expected they might rise further. How and what should be the morale of the people who are living in the areas, who are either being evacuated or either living in Karachi areas? What precautionary measures, in your point of view, do they need to take physically and psychologically?
Psychologically, you know, panic is, of course, itself a disaster. So they should not panic. But she also mentioned this. This is very simple to say, don't be panic, but this is human.
Of course, it's human nature.
This is what she mentioned because I was there. So they should not be in panic, and they should not go out of their homes until unless it's very, very necessary. They should, I mean, be careful about their, you can say, about their rooftop installations. And the most important thing, they should be cooperative to the government and must follow the instructions, which is, I mean, coming from televisions and from radio. And you know, radio is continuously doing a transmission. That is, then again, here we should appreciate our Ministry of Information for that. So radio is at the moment is providing information.
Because that is very important, because not only the role of the radio, because everybody can carry a radio on his own telephone, on the phones as well, but also the local leaders, for example, those religious leaders that give sermons in the different mosques across Karachi, across Sindh. I think they should also, when they perform the different spiritual or religious sermons, they should add the precautions that the people need to take, or how the people need to boost their morale under such circumstances.
I agree with you perfectly. You are absolutely right, and I think they are doing it. I don't know. I am not in Karachi, but I had a call from Karachi before coming to your program, and I asked from where you are getting the information, the telephone, television, or the radio, and one of my friends mentioned that radio is providing an excellent information, and they are providing information after almost every 5 minutes. What is the updates? So this is good, because you can listen radio even you don't have data with you in your telephone.
That is true.
This is very important.
As far as Karachi is concerned, we are hearing that a lot of billboards are now being removed. We are also seeing that citizens are taking proactive measures on their own to cut down the trees that are in their homes, because in case of a cyclone, the trees could further cause havoc and ram into windows or into cars. Then supermarkets, I've heard, are being flooded because people are rationing up food, bringing in food, and so that in case there's some kind of an electricity issue, that they have enough food on their own. We also hear of dug-up roads that are there in Karachi, and measures that are being taken by the local authorities there so that those dug-up roads are properly circled and the water does not accumulate there and cause further flooding. And also boats are being brought in, I've heard, by ED and other organizations. So all these efforts, cumulative, and added to that, we know that the Pakistan Navy, the Rangers, Pakistan Army are also working day in and day out in order to help those people. It is a collective effort, but I hope that the result shows tomorrow and the day after tomorrow, when the cyclone indeed hits Pakistan.
Yes, this is a collective approach, and you have just mentioned, and collective responsibility also. But going to bazaars and stuffing your home, it is little, it's a kind of panic.
So people are panicking a little bit.
They should avoid it. But one thing is very important. People understand they are in danger and they have to look after themselves. This is very important. Otherwise, unfortunately or fortunately, Pakistani people are very brave people and they don't take anything very seriously. So, but this was a government campaign, constant campaign, that this is saying, look, there is something serious is coming. But we will see what, inshallah, God will bless us when the water will recede. We will see what happens, because I am again telling you,
only then will be ascertain the damage that has been caused, when and if there is some damage that is caused.
Yes, as you mentioned, we will talk about the Chief Meteorological Officer. He will tell us the rightly where it would not hit. It will land it, we understand, it would land in somewhere in Dwarka. Okay, so KT Bandar and Thatta, these areas would be affected. But what would be the situation and the tide level in Karachi, in near you can say the newly constructed areas like Malir, Kent? What would be the situation over there? This is what he can tell us.
All right. Well, we will see. The Chief Minister Murad Ali Shah Sahab has advised people to stay indoors mostly during the next 2 days and not leave their houses unnecessarily. He has also said that the K Electric has been asked to improve its system. Do you feel there could be some electric breakdown for a couple of days or for a couple of hours when and if the cyclone does hit the coastal areas?
Depends. If wind speed are over 60 kilometer, or as one of the report mentioned, it could be 100, first 1 hour it could be 100 and 110. Then, my dear, this is a electrical infrastructure is a cable also, and they can create a problem and tripping and start. But actually, what happened last time in America, I forget the name of the state. They actually closed down the electricity before it could create any problem. So this is what the government has decided. We don't understand when government will give instruction about this particular issue. But I think they will close down electricity maybe for some hours if speeds are more than 110 10 kilometer hitting Karachi city.
But you know, it could be unintended, it could be even more.
Yeah.
You know, that is the main concern of all the government functionaries as to what will actually happen, because you know, at the moment it is changing course, but we don't know what might happen by tonight, by tomorrow morning. And yes, of course, but the fact is that as people are being evacuated, we are going to ascertain the exact damage only once the water recedes, if water does enter the coastal areas and Karachi as well. When you look at the way our government is playing a very proactive level role as far as not only informing the people but also giving different telephone numbers. Yesterday I did a show on Biparjoy and I gave a whole list of numbers that are present, that the people can call the provincial government, the DHA related areas, and there are certain camps that have been made as well, so that the people can move towards those camps. Those camps have also specific numbers that the people can call. How important will be the role of social media, of our mobile phones in the next 2 or 3 days, in order to brace for impact and in order to help as many people as possible?
Very pertinent question, Omar. I am very sad to share with you. Unfortunately, I saw many fake news last night in social media, and they are using videos of Indian Gujarat, and they are using videos of previous years of somewhere in the world, and telling this is Karachi or this is Kitty Bandar. I mean, this fake news is very, very, very unfortunate. Part I saw last night in social media. We must be very responsible, and at least once we are going through you can say a serious patch or path of the time, we should be responsible. But I don't see the responsible response from our social media users. This is,
I think not only people on social media should stop being negative or pessimistic just for the sake of getting more ratings or getting more views, but on the other hand, they need to be more responsible in their attitude in calamities such as these, when a certain area or a certain part of their own country could be affected.
I did a research last night. Now I'm coming to the particular point on Facebook and on Twitter. So I clicked only videos in both sites, and saw first 100 videos I saw about Karachi, for example. Surfing Karachi, 89 was fake videos. So
they are creating panic. They are creating panic amongst the people. And this is what should be the least of the attitudes that people need to have. They need to have a more proactive attitude, tell people what to do, how to do. The numbers need to be shared, the places need to be shared, the camps where the people need to stay should be shared, how to go there, how to contact people, what are the amenities that are available. These are the things that they need to tell everybody through their videos. But in fact, unfortunately, this is what some or a lot of our people that are present on social media adhere to sensationalism for the sake of sensationalism, even if it is fake. Thank you so very much, Agha, Iqrar, Haroon Saab, Analyst, joining us and talking to us about the latest situation as far as this cyclone Biparjoy is concerned. We will start seeing the effects from tonight, as Shari Rahman Sahiba has said, that the sea waves can rise tonight, and tomorrow morning we'll ascertain as to what will be the actual effect of cyclone Biparjoy. Let's hope for the best, but expect whatever calamity is, and not panic, but refer to all the opportunities that the current government is giving you through the different telephone numbers, through the different social media accounts that you need to take care of and follow, and the instructions that have been given by the PDMA in the government of Sindh that you need to also adhere to pre-cyclone, during the cyclone, and post-cyclone. Let's come to our second segment, ladies and gentlemen, that concerns the former US President Donald Trump. Now, this former US President Donald Trump has pleaded not guilty after being arrested at the federal courthouse in Florida on Tuesday. These are 37 counts that he has pleaded not guilty to. More in the following report.
U.S. President Donald Trump's indictment on charges of mishandling classified documents at his Florida estate has brought renewed attention to one of the most notable cases in U.S. Justice Department's history. Donald Trump was arrested and formally charged with federal crimes, a first for an American former president. Trump has been charged with 37 counts of hiding and mishandling classified documents. Indictment alleges Trump and his aide actively concealed the classified records, some of which contained sensitive national security information, and obstructed attempts to recover them. Trump has repeatedly said that he was entitled to the classified documents under the Presidential Records Act and declassified them before leaving office, something the Justice Department disputes. The U.S. Justice Department unsealed an indictment that outlined 37 criminal charges against Trump, including 31 under the Espionage Act. Former president and current Republican frontrunner in the 2024 U.S. presidential race has rejected the federal charges. Trump has repeatedly proclaimed his innocence and accuses Democratic President Joe Biden's administration of targeting him. Federal charges represent the biggest legal jeopardy so far for Trump, coming less than 3 months after he was charged in New York with 34 felony counts of falsifying business records.
Dr. Munawar Hussain, foreign affairs expert, joins us online. Dr. Saab, pleasure to have you on board for this segment. Donald Trump indicted on 37 counts that he pleads not guilty to. Documents that contain sensitive national security information and his attempts to, obstructing attempts to recover those documents. How serious is the legal ramification of these 37 counts?
Thank you very much for having me in the show. Though I am not a lawyer, I don't have expertise on the legal issues, but I mean, this is very, very serious issue as far as American history is concerned. First is that the legal battle is set up and likely to play out over coming months. I mean, it will go on and on. So definitely it would affect the Trump's election campaign. Secondly, Trump is the first president to be charged with the federal crime. And therefore, we observe that if we see his defense, he is claiming that he is being targeted by the Democrats and especially the President Joe Biden. Therefore, he even called Jack Smith, who is the special counsel leading the prosecution, a Trump hater on social media and his election campaign. The third important unique thing in this case is that we all know that America is known for democracy because Enlightenment, the first experimentation of Enlightenment was done in the case of America. We did not have any precedence in the world. And America is known as a champion of democracy, is known for its check and balance system. So this case has identified lacunas even in American political system and check and balance system. And that might lead to bring another reform in American Constitution. We all remember that in 1970s during the Vietnam War, there was a reform in American Constitution. The presidential power of war was curtailed. Similarly, we have another very important thing, and that is U.S. remained strong in the world because of its socio-economic and political institutions. Now they are seen to be redundant. So therefore, many scholars in the world, they call it American relative decline. So these are 4 or 5 aspects which are unique in the case of the Trump indictment.
All right. As far as this indictment is concerned, Dr. Munawar, do you agree with Donald Trump calling his arrest as a political witch hunt?
Yes. This is his defense, basically. If you understand this case, we find that this case is throwing America into unprecedented territory. Just imagine, for instance, that the Trump is going to win the election and he is also convicted. Then would he run the presidency from a jail cell? This is, I mean, very, very serious issue because he refused to even drop out of his primary contest. Therefore, we observe that he is accusing his political opponents as corrupt political adversaries of election interference. And even then, we are also observing that his indictment put his supporters in a very, very difficult situation who are looking for a candidate with less baggage. It also put American image in a crisis situation. And if we see his opponent, they are not going to oppose him, especially from his own party, like DeSantis, the governor of Florida, and Mike Pence, who was the former vice president. They are not clearly criticizing him because they had a fear that they might lose the support of Trump supporters. So therefore, they are heavily relying on his indictment and relying on the court verdict. That court might take him out of the race.
All right, Dr. Munawar, I'd also like to understand how the former US president is also tainting the image of the American judiciary, at least on social media. He calls the special counsel, Jack Smith, who is leading the prosecution, as a Trump hater on social media. Do you feel it is going to have any effect on the American judicial system, the way he is pointing accusations on it?
Yes, I already pointed out that this is a heavy toll on American image in the world because everybody is looking towards American political system. In the post-Cold War period and even during the Cold War period, America, when he took the charge of the free world, he always portrayed himself or herself as a model for others to follow. So if such problems are coming up in American political system, or the legal system that is hurting American image in the world, how people they would follow the American model if such things are going on. So therefore, I already said that this is a heavy toll on American image, and it would be rather very difficult for American next leaders, whosoever is coming into power, to promote the American model as a model of development in the world.
That's a very valid point. Thank you so very much, Dr. Munawar, to have joined us and to have talked to us about the indictment of Donald Trump in 37 cases. We've been now joined by Anwar Iqbal. He's a senior journalist from the United States. Anwar Saab, thank you very much to have joined us. This whole indictment of Donald Trump in 37 cases, him pleading not guilty, then pointing fingers at the US judicial system and the political system, those in power in the US. How do you see the current state of US politics vis-a-vis in relation to these 37 counts on which Donald Trump has been indicted?
Well, thank you very much for inviting me. Of course, this is a legal process. And in the United States, the courts are totally free. They are not influenced by the administration. I mean, you can file a charge, the government can file a charge, a private citizen can file a charge against any individual. The courts take up every case on its merit, and then they make a decision to pursue or not to pursue it. And once the process starts, then of course everybody has to appear, even if he is in the government or not in the government. That does not make much of a difference. So they are actually following the legal process. And this case is related to the discovery of hundreds of papers in Mr. Trump's private home in Florida, and some of those papers were of very sensitive nature, and the government is pursuing the case, and they've gone to the court and let the court decide. I don't see anything unusual in this case.
All right, but Anwar Iqbal Saab, when in April he has pleaded already not guilty to state charges in New York that stemmed from a hush money payment to a porn star, then come these 37 accounts of indictment on very sensitive documents. You say this is a legal process that takes place in the United States of America, that is independent, but is it going to have any effect on the political system in the US, especially with the elections looming large in the country?
Yes, I mean, it will definitely have an impact on actually it will, if anything else. Mr. Trump is using it as an advantage for him in politics. He is presenting himself as a victim, and people within his party, he is the darling of a particular political group within the Republican Party. These are the people living in small towns and rural America who were previously very reluctant to participate in the political process, but Mr. Trump was able to motivate them, and they are now with him. And Mr. Trump is hoping to run for the election, and he is so far the leading Republican candidate. Anything that is related to him, whether it is a legal, it is a court case or whether the political development, is obviously going to impact the election campaign as well.
Anwar Saab, he is also, of course, we know that Trump is again aiming for the presidential race next year. Do you feel this is going to dent in any way whatsoever his popularity or his vote bank, or will it increase it? In fact, the opposite might occur.
Well, you see, what happens in America has a two-party system. And in most places, we know which sort of constituency is pro-Republican, which constituency is pro-Democrat, which state votes for instance, California almost always votes for Democrats. Texas usually votes for Republicans. New York is always pro-Democrat. We know that there are certain states that are neither on this side or not that side, and those are the states that decide the ultimate result of the election. And other than that, there are certain groups of people within the American nation that are undecided. These are called the undecided voters, who are neither with this party or not that party, and they watch the development closely and they decide accordingly. And these are the people that every party tries to win over. Mr. Trump has the sympathy of the right wing in the United States, and they like him. And anything that is seen as impacting his or sort of hindering his participation in the political process will be disliked by this group, and it will further motivate the group to support Mr. Trump. So, of course, this will make him more popular within his vote bank, and it is the undecided vote that actually plays a very crucial role in deciding the result of the election. So, obviously, it will have an impact on the presidential election as well.
When it comes to people and personalities like Donald Trump, in your point of view, looking at US political system and the US politics and this two-party political maneuvering that happens in the United States of America, do you feel it is the persona of leaders that drives parties, or it is the party that drives the personas of these people? For example, Donald Trump.
Both. The party is very important. The party is very organized. It's not like Pakistan, where the leadership always remains within with an individual role, like in the case of Imran Khan, or with a family like the Sharif family or the Bhutto Zardari family. Yeah, you can actually join the party as a worker and stay with it and work up. One day you can become a member of the local government, then the state government, then you can become a congressperson, congressman, or a woman. You can become a senator, and ultimately you can hope to be the president of the United States. That happens. Mr. Obama wasn't nobody. There were other than Mr. Bush was from a wealthy family, but politically Mr. Trump was a nobody, and so. That is, the party is also a very important part. But at the same time, a leader has his own charisma, and that is also important too, especially for undecided voters. Undecided voters do look at the candidate.
Both complement each other.
And they are influenced by the candidate.
So what you're trying to say, Anwar Iqbal, is that both more or less complement each other, and they help each other or support each other as to gather more votes as time comes along for the elections. Now, coming to this very case of 37 counts, hundreds of.
There's one more thing.
Please.
It is not just the popular vote. You know that America also has a system of what they call. People elect the president, but at the same time, they also elect certain representatives who become a part of the electoral college. And a few days after the elections, those members of the electoral college get together, and then they elect the president. And their election is final. I mean, like if you remember, Hillary Clinton received 3 million more popular votes than Mr. Trump did, but still she could not win because she didn't have a majority in the electoral college. So the American system and electoral college decided among various states according to their population and everything, and it was created to maintain a balance between big states and small states. So it is a little more complicated than the Pakistani system.
All right, Anwar, Iqbal, I'd like to also understand hundreds of files were retrieved from Donald Trump's Florida home. Prosecutors claim that unauthorized disclosure of some of the documents he kept could damage the U.S. Security. Do you feel that the U.S. national security could be at risk with the documents that have been found with Donald Trump? Do you feel that there are certain lacunas in the U.S. security system that needs to be catered to so that such incidents do not happen again?
No, I think they are working on it. They're trying to bring more restrictions on whether a president can take official documents to his private residence or not, whether those documents can be taken outside the White House. So they are working on it. I think they are going to make it more difficult for a president to take the documents out of the White House.
All right, Anwar, Iqbal, I'd also like to take your point of view on a quote that Donald Trump made. He said that if he is elected next year in 2024, he promises to appoint a special prosecutor to go after Biden, whose lawyers had recovered a small number of classified documents at the Democrats' Delaware home and Washington, D.C. office. Is this a case of the pot calling the kettle black?
Well, I mean, it is it's politics, you know. If he finds something that he can use against Mr. Biden, he will. And if Mr. Biden finds something to use against Mr. Trump, he will do so too. I mean, he's already doing that. And when Mr. Trump is in power, he will do that too. But I don't know how useful it will be for him, because Mr. Biden is using it against Mr. Trump because Mr. Trump is a potential candidate. Mr. Biden, once he is defeated, he's already too old to actually, I think, even run for the president the second time, although he said he will. And once the elections are over and everything, and he returns home in 2025, it will be 80 plus. And of course, there will be no chance of him running again.
Donald Trump, how all of this is going to impact Donald Trump's position, his race for the presidential campaign next year, and how is it going to affect the U.S. political system, as you say, which runs a normal course, and B, also the security system and the risks that have been taken by this former president by having documents at his place that were of a high security value. So let's see how things go along. Thank you so very much, Anwar Iqbal, to have joined us all the way from the United States of America to talk about Donald Trump's indictment in 37 cases of sensitive documents that were retrieved from his house. Let's come to our last story, ladies and gentlemen. In Nigeria, 103 people have been killed after a boat capsized in the central state of Kwara. In a statement, the state governor of Kwara has said that the victims of the incident were returning from a wedding in the neighboring Niger state when this incident occurred. This, of course, boat capsized early Monday on the Niger River in the Patigi district of Kwara district, close to Niger. 100 people have been rescued, 103 have died. Search and rescue is still ongoing, which means that the toll could further rise. Our deepest sympathies with all of those who have lost their lives, and I hope that the government will do its utmost to find the remaining passengers, and I hope that the rest will be found to be safe and in a healthy state. and we hope there will be less of casualties in the coming days. But of course, our prayers and our sympathies go with our brethren in Nigeria. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we come to an end of today's newsroom. We'll see you inshallah tomorrow with new story segments that pertain to us, you and Pakistan. As I also said in the beginning, all eyes are on cyclone Biparjoy. Let's expect the worst but hope for the best. Allah Hafiz.